Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So in today's video, we are going to discuss Kubernetes emptyDir volumes. So basically emptyDir is a default volume type which we get as part of our Kubernetes. So in previous video, we have already discussed about volumes, why we should use volumes and how it helps us to keep data persist. Let's understand in this video more about the default type which is emptyDir. One thing you will notice I have mentioned here temporary storage. Why? Because this emptyDir is completely depend on your container's life cycle. So whenever we create a new container, this volume will be created, and whenever we delete the container, this volume will also be deleted. That's why I have mentioned here for temporary storage. So generally we use emptyDir volume if we have we have to use for temporary cache, or maybe if we are running multiple containers inside a pod, then in that case we can use emptyDir for data sharing purpose. But in real time or in production scenario, we cannot use this volume type because the life cycle of this volume type is depend on containers, because as we know containers sometimes containers deleted or maybe crashes. If we will depend on this volume type, then we can lose our data as well. So basically this volume type does not provide us a data persistent, so we should avoid using this volume type for production or real-time scenarios. But maybe there are scenarios where you have to use this volume type. That's why we are discussing, because at least we should be aware what kind of volumes basically a Kubernetes provides us. Okay, before moving to our demonstration part, it is very important to clear about volumes and volume mounts, because a lot of people got confused with these terms. So volumes generally we define outside the containers like pod level. So it is the way, or it basically tells to Kubernetes what kind of volume you want. So there are some volumes like emptyDir, which currently we are discussing. Then we have host path, config maps. So these are the volume types. So we have to specify in our manifest file what kind of volumes we needed for our application or our containers. Another thing is volume mounts. So this is the actually path which we defined inside our containers. So volume mount we define under the specifications of our containers. Here basically we define we basically mount the path where actually we are going to store our files. So in simple words, volumes basically provide us or tell us what kind of storage you need for this container, and volume mount is a way to attach or use that particular volume type for your containers. So actual mounting we will use for actual mounting, basically we use volume mounts, because end of the day we are going to mount a particular path inside our containers. So that you have to keep in mind. Let's take another examples of volumes and volume mounts. So everybody use, or maybe like almost everybody use USB drive, we call it pen drive. So volumes are like our pen drive, because when we mount it in our local systems, then only we can store the data. So same concept here we have with volume and volume mounts. So volume mount is a type of USB which we use for our containers, but volume mount is the actually path where we store our data. Okay, now let's move to a demonstration part. So let me go to my folder. So here I have very simple ML file. So if you see here, we have everything same which we already discussed multiple times. So let me read it again as well. So API version is the one which we are going to use, the API basically, and kind pod, metadata, the name of our pod, and under specification you will see a containers, and under containers we are using volume mounts. So if you can see the name here, and you will see this name, the my temp storage, this name should always match with your actual volume which you are going to use, because you are referencing this volume type inside your containers. Then only your containers will know, or Kubernetes will know, okay, you have to use this kind of volume. So for example, I have defined here, I want emptyDir kind of volumes. So whenever you create a volumes in Kubernetes, you have to reference it inside a container. So accordingly, it will create that volume type. But we are not going to store any data in this volume itself, because this is just a type, or this will tell us, okay, what kind of directory or what kind of structure you need for your files. But actual mounting we are doing here. So if you can see here in volume mounts, basically this is the reference of our volumes. Okay, I need emptyDir for this containers, and mount path this. So whatever the data we will create as part of this container, the data will be stored under /data and /temp directory. So let's do a demonstration, then it will be more clear. Okay, let me copy the file name. Okay, let me copy the code as well. Okay, so let me apply this file, kubectl apply -f and file name. So it will create a container with the name of my emptyDir app. So let's verify it. Kubectl get pods. So we have one container in running. Okay, so now what we will do, we will go inside this container and let's verify this mount path first. You can also verify with the help of describe command. Kubectl describe pod and your pod name. So if I copy the name, so if you go above, you can see under volumes, this is the volume which is type is emptyDir. This is what we have specified here. And if you go above, you will see a mount path. So /data /temp is a mount path where actual our data will be stored. So now what we will do, let me clear this. I will use kubectl exit -it and pod name, which is okay. Now I will go -sh. So now I'm inside my container. If I do ls here, we can see a data folder. So let me go to data folder. If I do ls, we can see temp. So this is the mount path which we have created inside the container. So whatever the files we will create, that will be stored in this location. So let's create one file here. Let me go to inside a temp directory, and here I will use test.txt. So let me type here something. This is my sample file. Okay, now let me save it. Okay, if I do ls now, we have our one file which is text.txt. So now what I will do, I will so what I will do now, I will delete this container, and let's see if still we are able to see this file. Because what we are going to do, we are going to delete this pod and we are going to recreate this pod. So kubectl delete pod and pod name. Okay, spelling mistake. Kubectl delete pod and pod name. Okay, actually I'm inside the container. Let me come out first. So I'm exit from the container. Now let me run it. Kubectl delete pod and pod name. So we need to verify the emptyDir volume type will provide a data persistent or not. So as we know, this volume type depend on containers life cycle. So we are going to remove the container, delete the containers, and we are going to recreate the containers. So if still we will able to see a file on this particular mount path, then emptyDir provide us a data persistent. If we will not able to see a file which we have created text.txt, then data emptyDir volume type will not provide us a data persistent. That's why we should not use it for real time or maybe a production level. Okay, so now let me apply this file again. kubectl apply -f. Okay, let me clear the screen. So let's verify the pod first. Okay, so we have a pod in running state. Now let me rerun the command. So I will go inside the container. I'll do ls. So we have a data directory. Let me go inside data/temp. If I'll do ls, so we are not able to see text.txt file which we have created. So it means emptyDir volume type will not or doesn't provide data persistent. That's why we should avoid using it for real time or production scenarios. But there are some scenarios where we need this volume type, so at least we should be aware, okay, this volume type is also available inside Kubernetes. So that's all for today. I hope it's clear. In case if you have any doubts, you can ping me over comments. So till then, okay, anything else? Okay, I think it's all we have covered. So that's all for today. See you next video. Thank you so much.